Broncos head coach Vic Fangio apologized yesterday after saying that he did not see racism in the NFL. Fangio said that after discussing it with players and other coaches, he realized he had made a mistake and he should have been more clear with his comments. So, Shannon, do you like his apology?
I do. I'm glad he apologized, Skip. I don't know Coach Fangio. All I know is he coached the Denver Broncos, so I don't know him like I would know Mike Shanahan, one of my previous coaches, or Dan Reeves, Wade Phillips, or Brian Billick. But I think it was the right thing to do. And see, a lot of times, Skip, this is the problem. Because it has not happened to them, they don't really, well, it didn't happen. It doesn't exist. You see, they say the locker rooms are a microcosm of society. So therefore, if there's racism in society and the locker room is a microcosm of that, shouldn't it be exist? Skip, something just happened just a week ago. The Rooney Rule. They added you had to interview more minorities. What was that about, Skip? The adage that blacks can't be quarterbacks because they can't process information fast enough. They can't think on their feet. Was that about talent? What was that about? Come on, Coach Fangio. Because you have not experienced something does not mean it does not exist. And I think the thing is that, you know, yes, the players talk to him. Don't need to get into specifics, but I know for a fact some of his black players were very upset that he said what he said. Now is not the time for you to say, well, the locker room is a safe haven. No, it's not. I think the difference is, Skip, between a locker room and society is that in a locker room, people generally go for the same common goal. And I'm willing to overlook some of the things because winning the Lombardi seems to be more important. But what guys are seeing now, what we're starting to see from a lot of athletes now, especially in the 2000s, Skip, is that not only are they morally conscious, they're socially conscious. So they're not like, yeah, we want to win the Super Bowl, but we don't want unarmed black men and women getting killed in these streets either. So there's a difference now, Skip, because we understand in the 60s, Skip, at the height of the civil rights, there were a lot of blacks that was willing to take on certain issues. But the money from endorsements was not nearly like it is now, Skip. You got guys making 50, 60, 70, 80 million dollars in endorsements. And guys are like willing to I don't care. That's wrong. And I'm going to speak out against it. So I'm glad Coach Fangio, he apologized. Hopefully now will his actions back up his apology. Because a lot of times, Skip, and this issue, okay, here you go. And that doesn't match up with things that it should to show that you are apologetic. Are you sincerely sorry that you said what you said, or are you doing it because of the backlash that came with it? Only time will tell. But I am glad that he issued the apology, and hopefully it has some teeth, and he'll put his actions to where his words are.
So, to your point about the Rooney Rule, the painful irony of Vic Fangio's initial comment is that, to me, from my point of view, he is in some ways a product of the racism that still exists in the National Football League.
Yes.
At age 60, he's now 61, but at age 60, he got hired by John Elway to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Now, they just had for 2 years a younger African-American head coach, Vance Joseph.
Correct.
Who started at 45 and coached for 45 and 46. Yet, as we just saw in the recent hiring cycle, we struck out. And we're down to Mike Tomlin, Anthony Lynn, Brian Flores. And I'm pretty sure, am I missing anybody? I think that's all that's left. African-American.
Correct.
Ron Rivera Menor.
Marty.
Okay? So we got 4, but we have 3 African-American. 32 teams. It's not good enough. And again, to your point, there was a movement afoot to how can we fix this? And some of the black coaches were split. Tony Dunn, the ex-black coaches, were split about this. John Wooten, my friend who ran the Rooney Rule for years, he was for some sort of incentive base. He said, we went from penalizing to let's try incentives. Whatever, like it's desperation at this point to try to fix the problem. Well, Fangio got a job at age 16. It was his first head coaching job in his career, and he paid a lot of dues. We give him that. Worked his way. It started in 1994 as an assistant coach with the Saints. Worked his way up the ladder. So it wasn't like he just came from nowhere like a guy named Matt Rule, who just sort of came from nowhere at Baylor, and all of a sudden he gets a whole lot of money to coach the Carolina Panthers after he coached at Temple and Baylor.
Or Cliff Kingsbury. But
okay, there's one.
We get your point, though.
Who was sub 500 as a college coach. That's a good one. So, again, that's tone deaf to me.
Yes.
Where Fangio says, well, I don't see any racism. And look, I'll give him this, and you would, I think, agree with the point. We have come a long way in the locker room. There was once upon a time where not just black quarterbacks, but black players did not get the same opportunity. I'm going back a ways. Did not get the same opportunity to win jobs as white players.
Yeah, Skip, there was blacks were not allowed to play in the NFL.
Yeah, okay.
And it wasn't until Preston Marshall told the Redskins, Washington, that if you don't have them, you're not playing in D.C. Those are your choices. I think it was Kennedy. Those are your choices. Put one on the team or you're not playing here.
That's true. Okay.
And Bobby Mitchell was that guy.
And I've told you, when I worked out here at the LA Times back in the 70s, they sent me for a whole week to Grambling University to do a long story on a young man by the name of Doug Williams. And I thought he was going to go really high in the draft, like top 5, maybe even top 1, because I thought he was good enough to be the first pick in the draft. And he was good enough to be the first overall pick. And I made my calls around to some of the GMs I knew at that point, all obviously white. And one very prominent GM told me he does not have the mental capability to make it in our league. Really? He does. Do you see what he's doing at Grambling?
Exactly.
He was the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, obviously, for the Redskins. And he remains prominent in this league, Doug Williams. So that was a long time ago, 1977. So we have come... I think you would agree with the black quarterback. We've come a long way.
Absolutely.
Black quarterbacks are getting their opportunities. I'm sure there's some cases where maybe they don't. But
sometimes we still get an opportunity to skip. You know, you want to switch position, Lamar Jackson. I think you'd be a better receiver.
That is correct.
Where they would never do that.
Right.
I mean,
Jalen Hurts. I think he went through the same idea of, could you play running back?
No.
No, I'm a quarterback.
Thank you.
Okay. So, again, Vic Fangio, I think he showed his tone deafness, his sort of blindness, because he's sitting in a chair right now that maybe a black coach should be sitting in. And that's no disrespect to him. He's highly respected as a defensive mind. But he got a job as an older defensive mind. He's not even a young gun Cliff Kingsbury. He's not even some offensive guru type. That then you can say, well, that's sort of the sheep think of the NFL right now. Hire the hot, young, white guru, right?
Sean McVay of the world.
That guy, right? Well, Fangio wasn't even that guy. And he got the head coaching job of a team that has been around for a while. It's a coveted job, and it's still a very good football team. And he got that job and not another young black coach. Okay?
Again, but I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve the job. Maybe he did deserve the job. Maybe he deserved the opportunity. Maybe he's paid his dues. But to say there's no racism in the NFL when Colin Kaepernick has gone without a job, what was that about?
Right. And you can certainly speak to this. And I don't know specific people, but I promise you there are racists playing for the National Football League right now. There are racist players. You know there are.
Of course.
We hear it all the time. The N-word gets used during, you know, the stress of battle in the NFL by white players to black players.
Well, the thing is, I'll be honest, Skip, I never heard that. Now, I've heard, you know, we called each other, obviously we called each other that, but I think now, Skip, they've cleaned that up where you'll get a fine if you were to say something like that. But it's hard for me to believe, as you said, Skip, if we are a microcosm of society, because think about it, you're bringing guys from different religion and backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, or all that kind of stuff. And that exists out there in the world. So I guess once you come into the locker room, you disregard all of that? No. No. It would be foolish and disingenuous to say that and to believe that. But look, I think the thing is that once he said it, once he talked to some of his players and coaches, he realized the mistake that he had made. To say there's none. I mean, think about this, Skip, there's none. It's like, look, guys, I mean, and like he hedged it the second time around, in my experience, racism, you have to be in a position. When have you ever encountered a black in position to commit racism against you? Racism is about position of power, Skip.
Yep.
It's a belief that because of your color, I'm better than you are. When have blacks ever been in a position to hire somebody that's like, yeah, I got you, now what? When have we ever had that kind of control, Skip? And that's what the systemic is. So I'm glad Coach Fangio apologized. I was very disappointed when he said what he said. I've talked to a couple of the players on the Broncos. They were very disappointed, but they had a call with him, and hopefully they worked everything out.
Maybe it's a time of learning, listening, learning.
You know? I think sometimes everybody wants to have a comment on something, and they speak without really thinking about they're about to say. And it comes out, and then you have to reissue a statement.
Yep.
It's okay to say, look, guys,